Hi. Today I want to talk a little bit about trust. Um, Trust is a commodity that seems to be fleeting in our society. Used to be you could have a handshake with an individual and you had an ironclad contract, but now you have to have 6 volumes and sign on 32 pages. So trust is a fleeting commodity. The question I want to deal with today is our relationship with God. First, I want to ask, can we trust God? Well, that's a pretty easy one to answer. God has been consistent throughout the ages. I know I can trust God because I can get on a jet plane and go anywhere. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I didn't trust God and his physical laws, I wouldn't dare get on an airplane. I wouldn't trust the wings to lift me off the ground. I wouldn't trust the landing gear to land. I wouldn't trust the laws of physics, of lift and of drag and inertia to carry the plane through the air. Every time I drop something, I expect it to hit the ground. That means I trust God because God created gravity that keeps us on the earth. I trust God that water will always be water. When I take a glass of it, I expect it to be H2O. I don't expect it to be cyanide. I can trust God. But the question I need to ask now is, can God trust me? Can God trust you? One of the first things God asked us to trust him with is his money. Many churches don't even want to talk about tithing. They always try to say it's an Old Testament law. But we find out that precept predates any of the laws that were written. God asked us very simply, if you'll give me 10% of mine back, then I'll show you my blessings by opening up the windows of heaven and pouring out on you a blessing that's bigger than you can receive. But can God trust us? We find out in the scripture that there are many scriptures about money and finance, more than there are about love or salvation. We find out that God talks about blessing people with money, finances, land. But all he asked, if we would just give back to him what's already his for the purpose of him blessing us and an exhibition of what would happen if we trust God. But still I find, in many cases, people can't trust God with things that are God's. Take a self-exam. Can God trust you? You trust him with your salvation. You trust him with your faith. You trust him with your life. Do you trust him with your finance? If God asks you to give to the poor beyond what you think you should give, would you listen to God? If God asks you to house a homeless person, would you listen to God? If God asks you to take extra time in encouraging someone that you may not even know, would you listen to God? The question is never whether we can trust God. The question is always, can God trust us?